Hi, my name is Rajat, and we are back with Facebook Live. And today's theme is going to be race, pacing in racing. All right. So, Ankush is with us, Ankush Mendiratta, and he's been a great guy. He's picked up running 9 years ago,
Yeah.
and Run Bugs. He started Run Bugs, has motivated 150 plus people. Otherwise, an HR professional. So, Ankush, just tell a little bit about yourself. Like what you've been doing in running space, and just the 9 years.
Well, yes. So, well, I started way back in 2009. I still remember I had hit my 40s. What we call as a midlife crisis. I was thinking what to do with my life. Career-wise, I was doing fine, but I needed to do something wacky, something very different, something weird. And well, I had options, and people said, why don't you buy a fancy sports car? Well, I didn't have the money to buy that. So, and then someone, told me, why don't you love your life, all over, again. And I won't, answer like that one. And then I had an option again. I had a friend who was training for the comrades at that point of time. He was, doing these 30, 40K runs, every morning at 3 a.m. And he used to, ask me many a time, Ankush, join me. And for some reason that, rang a bell in my head at that point of time. And I said, well, why not? That seems to be wacky, enough. And that seems to be weird. And that was, crazy. And I took on to running at that time. And post that, I never looked back. It's been a really, and, eye-opener for me the last 9 years.
Excellent. And so tell us, about the run bugs. What is that about? How did you get started with that?
So, Rajat, this was 2009, end of 2009, 2010, when, I realized that, let me bring in some fun into running. Why just kind of, wake up on my own, at 4 a.m. in the morning to run? Why don't I get people, around me?
Mm-hmm.
And probably like-minded people who would love to run along with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it dawned on me, let me create this group called Run Bugs. We'll have a family that runs together every morning. And that got going with the Run Bugs, and today Run Bugs is a group of about 150 people, very like-minded people who love to have fun but also train very hard. We set a lot of targets and goals, and we run events across India, across the globe. We travel together. We go to various cities. We make it a lot of fun. Sometimes our families join us. Sometimes they don't. But
name a few places. Where all have you gone to?
I could start with Goa or
Okay.
Amsterdam.
Okay.
Last year we went to Amsterdam, and so we create fun out of running. Running in itself, is great, but why not bring in an element of fun
Mm-hmm.
into it?
Mm-hmm.
And we end up motivating each other. We make sure when we wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, we don't have a reason to put the alarm off,
Right.
because we know there are about 50 other people who are going to join you for a run.
Right.
So well, Runbugs is all about our tagline says run hard and party harder.
So hard party hard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we do run hard.
Right.
We do party harder.
Right.
But we do end up winning podiums as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Since the theme of the session today is about pacing while you're racing and in life as well. Now you've been a pacer. You've done it for 2-3 years now. And why did you pick it up? And what is that about? First, what is a pacer? I mean, people might not know what a pacer
Well,
is.
a pacer is a person who gets to, reach you at the finish line in a certain time.
Right.
And he makes sure that he takes along the group, who really have trained to reach that time, or
Right.
who are somewhere around that time. And so a pacer's job is to ensure that you are achieving your personal best,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it will never be my personal best per se. So my job is to kind of motivate people, inspire people, talk to them, engage with them while we are in this running journey of 21 or a 42K run. And and we have to make sure that we reach them to the finish line. But there are people who fall back. They say that there is this Garmin, and well, I have this Garmin, I'll just follow my Garmin and I'll make it to the finish line in this time. But your Garmin won't talk to you when you're not being able to match the pace, right? So that is where a pacer, jumps in and says, hello, we can go on, and you've got to guide them through that journey, take them through it, stop at the water points, tell them have a sip of water.
You're like a captain of the ship, isn't it? For
Absolutely,
that particular time.
absolutely. And once you put on the flag behind you, you're the man there at that point of time for that. And,
they're banking on you.
Yes, absolutely. You are a god to them at that point of time.
Yeah.
And you engage with them, talk to them. There are a lot of inspiring stories that really come up when you talk to them during this 21K journey.
Right.
And more than anything else, rather than me engaging with them, they engage with me as well. And I and I really learn a lot out of that too. And inspire myself out of that too.
Right. So, in my opinion, pacing, I think that's one of the biggest gifts that we can get out of running, the learning itself. So if you pace your life well, if you don't sprint it, you do well for far longer. And same, I always keep kind of comparing, to running as well, whether you're running a half or a full or a ultra marathon or something. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I think I could make mention of something that, I went through. I started off very fast, in terms of building, mileage distance. I jumped from a 21 to a 50 to a, 63, 75, 100, and well, one day I injured myself.
Right.
And, I had read in the books, you can't jump that fast, you can't move that fast, but then sometimes you have to experience it. And I did.
Yes.
And I landed up with a back injury, and that kept for about a year.
Right.
And that's when I really, really appreciated running.
Right.
Per se, because when I stood back and saw everyone else running, and when you could not run, you perhaps learned that thing that the people who can run are so lucky. When you can't do something, you really admire others, or you really miss running. And that 1 year that I spent sitting out of the boundary line looking at people run, that's where I learned a lesson. And I thought, okay, let me get back to running, but in a very different fashion. Let me ensure that I run, and I run in such a way that I run my life now. Run through my life now.
Totally, because that's one problem that I face in the clinic. People come, they're very excited about running, and they've just picked up running, and they want to do all the possible races in one single year, or 6 months. 6 months they want to do 100 kilometers, right, from picking up running.
Yeah.
And soon enough there's an injury. But while they haven't got the injury, anything I have to say does not make sense to them till they get the injury itself.
True. And so there is this category of people who train event to event.
Yeah.
And they are socially, they kind of compete socially. There is another category of people who compete with themselves.
Totally.
So that is what I would emphasize on. Compete with yourself. I think running is one sport where you can kind of compete with yourself only. You need not go ahead and compete with others.
Right.
And if you are doing that, I think you will be in that space where you'll keep running all through your life.
For the audience to know that what do you do? What's corporate work for you?
Well, I'm a HR leader, and I've about 25 years of work experience now, and I manage people.
Okay.
And I think I kind of relate a lot of it
Awesome.
to
So you're a good
running.
pacer. You're a good pacer overall.
Yes, absolutely. And pacing has taught me a lot of things around life.
Right.
You have to keep going on. You have to be mentally resilient. You have to there are ups and downs.
Yeah.
There are times when you'll be frustrated. There will be times when you'll want to give up.
Yeah.
But that's where being a pacer, you kind of know that it's a matter of time. You have to work harder. Sometimes
Right.
you have to work harder, and you will achieve
Right.
your goal. and so that, and I also relate a lot of my HR experience to my group run bugs, because that's also managing a lot of people.
Right.
Every day runs, deciding routes, deciding where do we travel, deciding what events we run through the year. It's I think it's all managing human resources at the end of it.
Right, right. You were sharing that story earlier about one of your members from Runbug. Would you like to share that again?
Well, yes, I met this lady, and she was, she's a very good runner, and again, I don't know why I'm saying that, but, probably a 140, 21K like runner. And I asked her, what is the support mechanism that you have in the
1 hour
house?
40 minutes for 21 kilometers.
Yeah.
Very good.
I said, what is the support mechanism that you have in the house? Does your family support you? And the way she positioned it, she says, Ankush, my husband comes back from work at 1 a.m. in the night.
Right.
He's a social worker.
Right.
So he comes back very late, and I have in-laws who are sick.
Right.
She says, so Ankush, you know what? I've picked a time slot for myself. I wake up at 3 a.m.
Right.
I'm out of the house at 3:30 a.m. I'm back at 6 a.m. I wake up my in-laws at 6 a.m. and I'm there for them. So they don't come in the way at all. Right. Nobody stops me from running. And she says that's the biggest support. So for people who are sitting in the house and waiting for excuses that I have this in the house and I have this problem in the house, well, this is a true inspiration for me.
Totally.
And since the day she said that, I keep sharing this with everyone I meet. It could have been positioned very differently.
It could have
I have sick parents. I have a husband who comes late. How do I manage? And well, this lady also has a kid in the house.
So it's more of a reason rather than an excuse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's how you perceive life. You can turn it around. You can just turn it around.
Yeah, totally. So there's a question. It's more a point from Priyanka that she's very proud of Runbugs. Hey Priyanka.
Hi Priyanka.
We're lucky to have Ankush. And then says it's all thanks to Ankush and his motivating leadership. Yeah, I can see that. And that makes running such a pleasure and so much fun. Awesome. Good for you, Priyanka. So let's talk about when the race is happening, ADHM, all right? And if you were, are you pacing?
Yes. It's officially not announced as yet.
Right.
But I have been pacing pro-cam events and other events for the last 3 years.
Right.
And
what bus will you be on?
I'll be on the 230 bus.
230.
I presume.
So just
I'll
tell
be on
that.
the 230 bus.
What will that be like? What should runners be expecting on a 230 bus at ADHM?
Interesting. So well, there are people already connecting with me, asking me, are you going to be pacing, etc. Because they ran with me last year.
Right.
And I'm, kind of guiding them, already. So we kind of, prepare a plan and we let them know that this is how we'll start. We'll start at this pace. Or say at the 5K mark, we will finish our 5K, say in the first 35 minutes, we'll finish on the 10K in 110. So everything is kind of planned out, listed out. We tell them where we'll stop, and we kind of take them through the journey in such a way that sometimes I will have to stop at say a loo there on the way and tell them, well guys, that's the loo there. You want to use the loo,
Awesome.
To go to the loo.
Like a guide almost.
Yeah, absolutely. We try and engage as much as we can. The pacing plan stays really with me. I don't want them to really juggle in their head about every kilometer pace or so. But there are certain targets I let them know that this is how we'll go. This is the speed we'll go at, and this is how. So we'll do a positive splits, and towards the end we'll run at this pace. So they kind of understand where we are going. Some of them drop back. Some of them or towards the end of the journey, I the stronger ones I tell them to they just go ahead, and they say bye to me, because some of them don't want to leave me and go ahead because they think they've spent a lot of time and they're kind of really enjoying the journey. But whosoever goes ahead, make sure is there a finish line. So yeah. So pacing for me is really something that makes me feel very honored and privileged, and I feel happy to be part of a journey, of taking these people through their first 21, probably their personal best, and then these people become friends and they kind of relate. It's another life altogether, living around these and and at the end of it, you feel good that you've paced about 500 people through this, always, people say I inspire others. Well, no, that's not, because when best achieve that one goal, and making them achieve that one goal is what inspires me, kind of lead them the journey there.
Right. And again, so there's another one about very, very different question certainly. What's your diet routine? What are you eating?
Well, probably the wrong person to answer that, but at the same time, yes, you have to eat the right stuff. Sensible eating, as I call.
Right.
Avoid fried stuff.
Right.
Eat proteins, because that's what you really need to. You need carbs also, and just be very sensible about your diet. We go very moderate on the drinking, etc. and all, and we are careful around eating fried stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. You were talking about the first year when you picked up running. Of course, the midlife crisis and whatever else was going on, as you say. But there was a health angle to it as well, tiny little bit. Just talk about that.
Yeah. Well, so weighing about 90 kgs at that point of you're probably obese, and that word obese didn't sound well to me, and so I did know that if I start running, I'll end up taking care of my health, and I lost about 18 kgs in the first 1 year of running.
Right.
In the first 1 year of running, I lost 18 kgs, and
wow.
So what you're seeing me now is minus 18.
Right. And what about strength training? I mean, I keep talking about strength training to runners. Do you do exercises besides running?
Yes. So 3 days a week we end up strength training. So we divide our week into running days and then strength training days. We do that, and I think that's very important for a runner. You have to build your core. You have to build. You just can't go out there and run.
Right.
Especially if you have to move to a 21k or a 42k.
Right.
Yeah. You have to keep training. You have to stay strong.
And injuries? Do injuries come because of if they don't strength train?
Yes, they will. You have to address. You have to respect your body. I think that's the most important thing. Another thing that I keep telling people: running humbles you. So when you meet runners, they're all humble people. Every day morning when you run, you're humbled, and so you have to respect your body. Well, use it as a rest day. As per your training plan, put that as a rest day. Don't run on that day.
Right. And just to close it, I mean, you said something very interesting when we were talking before this talk about happiness being a main reason for you to carry on with this, with your running and all that. Just please, just in a minute, what does that mean?
Well, and that space gives me that space to appreciate other things in life.
Right.
When I say that, I never in the world ever thought that I'll appreciate a sunrise in the morning. I never in the world thought that I'll be running at 4 a.m. in the morning and hearing the birds around me.
Right.
So I've started to appreciate the good things in life, and that is what running has done to me.
Right.
I mean, that's it's just opened up another world for me.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Ankush, for coming along and talking to us about pacing. And guys, we'll be back next week, so watch out for our column next week, for my column, and the Facebook Live as well. Thanks, Ankush.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.